Hi, everybody. This is Erica from In the Company of Cards coming to you on National Black Woman Rest Day. Um, but here I am anyway. Hope those of you who are Black are enjoying your day of rest if you are women. Um, so, a couple of things a couple of comments that I wanted to respond to. Welcome back. Please like, share, subscribe, all the rest of it. So the first thing I wanted to do was to address a viewer named Chantel1619, who yoked me up in a very good way, I have to say. So, I have been amazed at the growth of this channel and about by everyone's kindness and generosity. Um, and so, I'm kind of in awe of it. And so occasionally I will do a very boomer thing, I think, which is to say, oh, this little channel or, show notes, as though it's not a real show. And Chantel suggested that I might want to consider not doing that because it makes her feel a certain type of way, which is not good. And she's not wrong. She's not wrong. I think I do think it's a boomer thing. To be self-deprecating. Um, and really, I don't really have a need to be self-deprecating, right? I mean, this channel it was my brainchild, my vision. And here it is, having come to life. And I'm really, really proud of it. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of myself. So no more my little channel comments. Sounds like My Little Pony. Anyway, thank you, Chantel, for yoking me up. Uh, Another viewer reminded me I made a mistake when I was talking about these South African white farmers who are going to be issued these special visas to come to the States because 47 loves, you know, white immigrants. Anyway, they reminded me that the Boers, Boers, those were the people who came and settled um, South Africa. Uh, they're Dutch. Their origin is Dutch, not English. God knows the English have enough to answer for. So, but credit where it's due, blame where it's due. So the Boers are Dutch. Afrikaners are the sort of the catch-all name given to the descendants of the Boers. Okay. But anyway, their background is Dutch, not English. So now that we've got that straight. Okay. And then I have a few current viewer questions that I thought I would address. This will be short because, I'm supposed to be resting. Uh, the first one that I want to look at is about this forestry bill. So, forestry having to do with trees. And we know that 47 has a lot of very warped ideas about how to stem the tide, so to speak, of wildfires. So there is a bill and on the table, and it's called the Fix Our Forests Bill. Sounds good, right? But guess what? It is really all about allowing an gross increase in cutting forests down by loggers. So it's a pro-logging industry bill, but it's couched as the opposite, as a pro-forestry bill. And the great irony is that this would be a project, right? That they would go in there and they would cut down trees. However, the Forestry Service has been kind of decimated because these are federal workers, so a lot of them have lost their jobs. So I guess we want to look at the future of 47's forestry bill called Save Our Forests, but it's really a pro-logging industry bill. What is the future of that bill? And I think instead of looking at the using the letter, which a lot of times I'll use for a bill, let's look at the forests themselves. And we don't have a forest in Lenormand, but we do have, of course, a tree. And so I will look for the tree, and that will stand for the state of our forests. Um, will it improve or get worse under 47? We know that if he has his way and that bill gets passed, it will be worse. But let's just see. Okay. And this was a viewer question. Okay, so remember, we're looking for the tree. Well, remember what I decided to look at was not the bill, but at um, the continued health of our forests, meaning, um, obviously it's my preference that they not do this widespread logging that they're talking about doing, because that would deplete the forest. But anyway, the cards are the cross, the stork. Here's our forests, fish, and coffin. Okay. Um, you've heard me say this a few times now. Um, Whenever I see the cross starting out the line, I'm supposed to say, oh, this question's a non-starter. Um, and, I could stop and redraw, but I think I think I can keep going with this. So, okay, cross followed by the stork. Now, the stork is about positive change. That's good. But this is pain and damage. So, damage to any kind of positive change for our forests could very well come about because of financial interests. Obviously, the loggers have a financial interest in cutting down the forests. And then we have this coffin at the end. Um, so that means that I can, uh, mm, okay, before I look at those two, I can mirror the second card, which is the stork positive change, with the fish. So yeah, I think our forests will be depleted because where will the positive change come to? The pockets of the people who want to destroy the forest by cutting them all down for logging. They're the ones who will have the positive change. Um, with the whole line being flanked first by the cross, which is a card of pain, and then finally by the coffin, that's not great. Um, I think the bill could pass, and it's not great for our forests. I decided to pull just one clarifier on the tree, and here he is, the narcissist 47, wanting to be in bed with whoever's got the most money. And if the loggers are going to support him in all the ways, then yeah, he's saying, cut down the forest. That's not a problem. Uh, it's very clear that this is financial. This is about money. It's not about saving our forests. And then on the coffin, I pulled three cards. So we have the heart, the ship, and then the clouds. So I think our forests get decimated. Um, Again, for love of money, the plan goes ahead. But then we have this clouds card, and I can mirror the clouds with the cross. I'm just going to say, I think we need to maybe be a little bit more vocal about this issue. Deforestation is not good. It's not the way that you end forest fires. He just, he has a very rudimentary understanding of how things work, 47. So if the logging industry says to him, no, it's really good if we cut down all the trees, that'll save the forests. He thinks, oh, wait, fewer trees, that means fewer forest fires. He's just very juvenile in his thinking. And his cloudy thinking is going to cause the forests and therefore us some pain. So you want something else to make noise about? Make noise about that because that's not good. Okay. I had a question about, and this is way into the future, of course, Mark Cuban. Now, Mark Cuban, as you probably know, has a lot of money, but he is, if you have to pick a side, he's not on 47's side. I mean, I think anybody with that much money, is problematic, but he is trying very hard to stay on the right side of things. So the viewer asked me, would he ever be president? That was the question. Would Mark Cuban ever be president? So I'm going to use the older man. He looks youngish, but he's what, 40s, 50s. But he's got some gravitas. So we will let the older man stand for Mark Cuban, and I'm asking about whether the presidency is in his future. Will be for the older man, and that will be Mark Cuban. Well, I mean, by the time he can run for president, he will be an older man. Okay, here he is. You know, the thing is that I don't care who it is. When people have a ton of money, having them run your government, I mean, is that the best idea in the world, regardless of what side they're on? But anyway, so the cards are clouds, woman, there's Mark Cuban, another woman, and then fish. You know what? I think from the cards, it looks like it is doubtful that he would run for president, but he could very well, since he's flanked by both women, he could bankroll a woman's campaign for president. I vote AOC, Jasmine Crockett, but that's just me. Yeah, I think he could. I don't think he'll run for president, but I think he might bankroll a woman's run for president. We won't know the answer to this question for some time, but that's what I see right now. Okay. Um, Two more questions because it is National Day of Rest. So 47 was asked whether he thought the tariffs that he's imposed, and he goes up and down with the amount and whether he has them, whether he doesn't. He's all over the place. But at any rate, um, will he was asked whether we run the risk of a recession as a result of the tariffs, and he kind of hemmed and hawed. He basically said, "Well, I don't know, could be." Now, a recession is, an inch away from a depression. And we know that because of what he said, um, and because of the tariffs themselves, that the Standard and Poor's index has dropped 2.7%. That's a lot. Uh, what the viewer had asked was not so much whether there would be a recession. Their actual question was, would there be a run on the banks? Now, what does that mean, a run on the banks? Well, it means that that there's a recession and that people are worried about their money. And so, just like in It's a Wonderful Life, remember they had a run on the bank where everybody went to the bank, banged on the doors, and wanted to take their money out. And the banks don't want that, obviously. So, question is, will there be a run on the banks? Or let's just look at whether there'll be a recession, because obviously, if there's a recession, people will want to put their money, you know, under their mattress instead of in the bank. And I'm not giving financial advice. I'm just looking to see whether there'll be a recession. And I think that the card I want to use for recession is mice, because mice is decrease, a lack. It's not good. So we will use the mice for a possible recession as a result of 47 tariffs. So we're looking for the mice. Will there be a recession? 47 has not ruled it out. Of course, it would be disastrous for his presidency, which is fine with me. But okay, here's our mice. This is stands for the recession, possible recession. Well, interesting. So we have the whip, we have the ring, we have the mice, which I'm choosing to have be the card for recession. We have the stork, and we have the fox. So, you know, there's a lot of talk about this. A lot of economists are talking about this and arguing about this and worrying about this. This is a lot of sort of very heated conversation, I'll call it. And I think that that continues. Um, but I also think that Congress knows that it's not good for them, the Republicans anyway, if there's a recession. So they will start to become committed, I think, less to 47 and more towards at least giving the impression that things are going to get better financially for the country. Okay, here's the recession itself. And we have the star, the anchor, and the moon. And, so this is the recession. This is the future. Now, I've always said that this is quite the oxymoronic nautical instrument, because an anchor can keep us safe, but it also can keep us stuck. And I see this anchor intuitively. What I feel is that it sinks us, and it sinks our reputation as a stable financial force in the world. But we have the stork, positive change. Fish is the card for money. We have this older man, and we have the lily. So, I think he will continue to do what he does, which is, you know, lick a finger and stick it in the wind, see which way the wind goes, and then decide whether he's going to raise the tariffs, drop the tariffs, keep the tariffs the same. He will know that for him to create this kind of disruption uh, is not good for him. So he will want to sort of have us watch the watch and say, it's in the short term it's bad, but in the long term it's going to be good. He'll want to keep the peace among the people. Uh, we have the fox, and the clarifiers are the tree, the rider, and the scales. So, this is the card for the expert. He's going to have to call in people that actually do know what they're talking about, and that is not Musk, but people who are experts in the economy, who will have to deal with the health of the economy, um, and about balancing things out. And that will be the message, that things need to be balanced out. I can mirror this card of balance with this whip. So, um, will there be a recession? I think there could be the beginnings of one, yes. And I think that he will do what he always does. He'll sort of tip the ship way over, and then when he sees that it's about to take on water, try to right the ship. The problem is that, remember, this is also the card for foreigners. So if he expects people to bail us out, he would expect he'd be talking about the very people who we have dissed, like Canada and Mexico. He would expect to bail us out, and I'm not sure that that will happen. So I'm going to say that I think there will be a recession. I think he'll try to pull us back from that. I'm not sure that he'll be able to do it. So, um, the wages of sin. Okay. Uh, Two more. Someone asked me whether the Affordable Care Act will die. And remember, the thing about the Affordable Care Act is that people like it, A, and B, nobody anywhere has come up with an alternative. No Republican has come up with an alternative. Because it's not about coming up with alternatives. It's just about, you know, Musk again saying that we are the parasite class. Anybody who depends on the Affordable Care Act or Medicare or Medicaid, that's the parasite class. And this, what do you do with a parasite? You try to eradicate it. So, what will happen with the Affordable Care Act? I think I'm going to use the tree again for that because, of course, the Affordable Care Act has to do with health. What will happen with the Affordable Care Act? So remember, we're looking for the tree. So this is the Affordable Care Act. Okay. And the question was, will it go away? Will it survive? What will happen? So we have the moon, we have the mountain, we have the tree, we have the anchor, and we have crossroads. So what I think is, again, remember that the Republicans have no alternative, and this makes them look bad. I can mirror the moon with crossroads. So yeah, sure, they'd like to find another way. And that, I mean, according to them, would be that if you can't afford your own health care, um, die. That's not going to be popular. So um, second card is the mountain. So their reputation is sort of stuck if they try to do anything to the Affordable Care Act. Now, what's interesting is that we have, the Affordable Care Act is in the middle. What's flanking the Affordable Care Act here is the mountain on the one hand and the anchor on the other, which makes me think that it won't go anywhere. that it will continue, that it will be maintained. I think it would be way too high a price for people to have to pay back home, meaning Republican legislators, to explain why that the Affordable Care Act has gone away and that there's no substitute that's been proposed. So I think the Affordable Care Act will stay, um, at least for the foreseeable future. Okay, now one last look at the CR. Remember that the CR stands for continuing resolution, meaning that the government would continue to be funded through September. Yeah, through September. Okay, here one more time for the people in the back. Um, Now, generally, a CR is sort of a stopgap measure. Instead of funding government for a full fiscal year, you fund it for a few months as a kind of a again a stopgap measure. But that does a few things. One of the things that it does is it stops negotiation um, in its tracks. Like people don't end up talking in the end about what to do for the next fiscal year. So, it's just it's sort of like one stopgap measure after another without a full fiscal year being funded. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes that. Um, Now, also, a lot of times with CRs, what it is continuing, right? Which means that whatever the funding rate, whatever rate at which things in the government were funded in the previous bill, that's how they'll be funded in the CR. But that's not what's going on here now. This was not what's called a clean CR. A clean CR would have kept all the funding the same as it was during the Biden administration. Obviously, the Republicans don't want that. So they have done, I'm going to call it, since it's not a clean CR, I'm going to call it a dirty CR. And why is it a dirty CR? Because in that CR, this is the one that would fund us from March 14th through September. It boosts defense spending and it has in it moderate cuts to non-defense spending. Okay. So the Republicans, at least on the House side, that's the bill that they want. Now, Democrats have said, wait a minute, we don't like that. We don't like a dirty CR. But we get it, we understand it's a stopgap measure, so okay. However, it's not going to go the way you want it to go, where defense spending goes up and then other spending goes down. No, we will only agree to your dirty CR if one of two things happens. Either defense spending and all other spending goes up, or all other spending and defense spending go down. We're good with either one. But what we're not going to do, say the Democrats, is agree to a continuing resolution bill which boosts the defense spending and then decreases all other spending. We're not going to go for that. All right. Now, the Republicans can only afford to lose one vote. But, we had those 10 Democrats who voted to censure Al Green. Anything is possible. In the end, obviously, the bill goes to the Senate, right? Once it gets to the Senate, if it gets that far, um, they will need 7 Democrats to pass a dirty CR. And they're to pass the Republican version of a dirty CR. Now, the Democrats who voted to censure Al Green did it because, they thought it was a matter of decorum and propriety. that that's what needed to be corrected. Not understanding that we are so far past that, it's not even funny. So we have to hope that those Democrats don't say, for the sake of what, hands across the aisle, we'll vote for the Republicans' dirty version of a dirty CR. We have to hope the Democrats, at the very least, say the only CR we'll vote for, because we don't want to, listen, if we don't have a CR, because there's no actual bill, funding bill, um, the government would shut down. Nobody wants a shutdown. So what we have to hope, if nobody wants a shutdown, we have to hope that the Democrats stick to the idea that either spending in all categories goes up, or spending in all categories goes down, but not the Republican version, which is defense up, everything else down. Hope I've made myself clear. So what I want to know is, will the dirty Republican version of the CR pass? Remember, the dirty version is um, defense spending up, all other spending down. Now, um, two things can happen if it doesn't pass. One is that we go into default and we don't have a budget. That's not good. The other alternative is in the wee hours of the night, they hammer out a bill which either all spending is up, including defense, or all spending is down, including defense. So I just want to know, will the dream bill that the Republicans want pass? Will that pass? Will there be Democrats who say, oh, hands across the aisle, we'll give you what you want? Let's look at the bill and we'll use the letter, and that will stand for the CR as it has been proposed by the House. Um, it's going to pass in the House. Question is, does it pass in the Senate? Remember, they need 7 Democrats. We want to know, will 7 Democrats vote for the Republican version of the CR bill? Okay. So we're going to use the letter, and we want to know if that CR passes. That Republican version CR passes. Okay, that's the CR as the Republicans have proposed it, which is defense spending up, all other spending down. And this, we will know what the deal is on Friday, because I think that's when the vote is taken, 14th. We have the key, we have the book, we have the letter, which stands for the Republican CR. We have the scales, and we have the crossroads. I'm going to say that the Republicans are going to have to compromise. I don't see the CR passing the way they want it to pass. I think that what that could mean is that and I've said this before, there could be a brief shutdown while they hammer the details out of which other version of the CR could pass. Again, either spending for everything goes up or spending for everything goes down. That's what the Democrats want, one or the other. They're good with either one. But I don't think that the Republican version of the CR will pass the Senate. Remember, the Republican version is uh, defense up, everything else down. I don't think that's going to pass. So I say that because we have the key, which is like the answer to things, and then we have the book. Well, we don't really know what the answer to things is. It doesn't look like it is the CR as it's being proposed right now. Here's the CR. Things have to be better balanced than they are. So that, again, this is going a different way from the way that the Republicans want to go. So I think that their CR proposal will not pass. Um, so it might be a long night on Friday night, because I don't know if they can hammer out the details of an alternative that will make everybody happy. Because remember, the Republicans want to cut spending in every area except defense. The Democrats are saying, no, don't cut all that stuff. So I think the Republicans are going to have to make some sort of concession. And I don't see them getting 7 Democrats to go with them and approve the CR the way that they have proposed it. So that's what I see. All right, everybody. Have a terrific Monday, and I will see you soon. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this wonderful, amazing, beautiful, rich community that we've all created here. Chantel, I hope you approve of that message. Take care. Bye bye.